a lot of my 20s was that battle where I kept giving my power away to other people. I kept letting other people tell me what to do when it came to my health or when it came to my career. I spent so much time kind of like going back and forth with what other people were telling me, what my logical brain was telling me versus my intuition. And if I had just full send intuition, what you're excited about, what you know, I feel like I would have been like 10 years ahead of where I'm at right now. Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's a very special episode because I'm reflecting on turning 30. I feel like everybody who turns 30 does a podcast to the effect of 30 lessons I learned turning 30. This is not going to be like that. I have not really thought about it very much until right now, but I thought we could explore it live. Reflecting on my 30 years thus far, and I think things that I would want to tell myself, particularly 20s me. It's so weird because I feel like so much has happened in my life and I feel like I'm so young. I feel like a lot of people when they turn 30, they have all these feelings about it. Negative feelings. They feel like, oh, I wish I was further. And I don't really feel like that. I feel like I honestly crushed my 20s. I feel like, sure, there were things that I thought were going to happen in my 20s that didn't happen, that are going to happen later. But I don't really worry about that very much. So I just feel like, and I was telling my boyfriend this earlier, I took every opportunity I could in my 20s. You know, I put myself out there. I traveled as much as I could. I was really aware of how time is our most limited resource. And I said yes to everything I wanted to say yes to. So I don't really have any regrets. I feel like I have lived a very full life thus far. So I feel really good about it and excited. I feel like when you're 30, I don't know, there's like a different energy and there's like so much life ahead of me and so much to learn and grow into. So I just feel excited about it. But obviously it's a milestone for people. I think there's just kind of a clear shift, right? And I think for most people, you know, your 20 Saturn return, all of that, you're learning so much about yourself. You're changing so much. And there's been a lot of, I would say, good chaos for me up to this point, and I feel like the energy is going to start to kind of concentrate and ride in a more even and clear direction from here on out, which I'm excited about, which is what I want the most. So that's why I'm excited to turn 30, because energetically for myself, I can feel it starting to concentrate and kind of ground in, because I've been doing so much beat bopping around and shifting and traveling, and I'll always love to travel, but just a little bit more of like in my hominess and my grounded energy, which I'm super excited about. But I think I've been just taking this time to be proud of myself for everything that I've gone through thus far and a lot of the things that I've healed and overcome. And, you know, I think about growing up, and I had a beautiful childhood in so many ways. I had an abnormal childhood because of my gifts. And I've always felt really different. I also, you know, dealt with a lot. I dealt with a lot with everything that I was feeling intuitively and psychically, and all of those really wild experiences I was having that were kind of traumatizing. I struggled with my mental health from a really young age. I struggled with my physical health from a really young age, and I saw a lot. I went through a lot of trauma when I was younger. I overcame a lot of different abuse cycles. I have seen a lot of things. I think, you know, there's a lot of my story I share, but there's a lot of my story that I don't, because I don't want to, because it's mine. But there have been so many things in my life that have built me and made me really strong and helped me mature at a young age and helped me appreciate life in a really deep way and understand the complexities of humans and their psychology. And I think where a lot of people kind of know a lot of my story starts is more when I was in college and I got super sick. But there's a reason why I got super sick. There are a number of reasons, one being spiritual, another being just a lot of stored trauma from a lot of really intense things I went through before that were really building up in my body. And I look back and I just am really proud of myself about how strong I was. And it wasn't a fake strength. It was an inner strength of like, you know what, Christina, like, I love myself and I'm going to take care of myself. I'm never going to give up on myself and I'm always going to bet on myself. And I'm really proud of that. And when I first started my business, I had so many people making fun of me. I had people sending me hate messages. I had people sending horrible things to me, telling me I was throwing my life away. I was rejected and abandoned in so many ways. And I moved forward. And look at where I am now. I didn't let it hold me back. You know, I look at everything I overcame with my health. I mean, I was in a really dark space. I had all kinds of doctors telling me I was going to die. I thought I was going to die. My body was just shutting down on me. I was getting bullied on the streets because I was so thin. People would throw food at me. I was getting public hate because I had a blog at the time and media was picking up things on me. It was just so much bullying. It was so much hate, and I got through it. And I had a lot of people telling me I was crazy. I had a lot of people telling me I was wrong. I was making things up. I was lying. And guess what? I got validated because I did it my way and it worked. My body healed, right? And I got really clear on what I wanted to feel in my life. And, you know, I felt alone. I felt like people didn't really understand me. I felt like, am I never going to have the type of friends I want? I was scared of being in a real relationship. I was like, am I insane, you know, for wanting a non-traditional career? I didn't even know what it was going to be. But I said, I cannot make myself a slave to the system. I will not have a job where I go in every day to some place I hate, doing something I don't like, dreading every day. I absolutely will not do that. And I promised that to myself. And the thing that was most powerful for me about my health journey was that was a spiritual experience. And in that spiritual experience, you know, I had cared so much what other people thought for so long. I grew up type A, perfectionist, overachiever because I was trying to get recognition because I wanted to feel loved. And I felt like the only time I got recognition or felt loved was when I achieved something, when I was perfect at something. And that was what I wanted, right? I just wanted to feel seen. So I had these really high standards for myself. But when I got sick, I couldn't do those things anymore. My brain wasn't working. I had to drop out of school. I wasn't able to show up the way I could before. I mean, I could barely physically walk. I mean, walking up the stairs, I would have to take a break because I was so exhausted. And that time allowed me to, you know, I want to say allowed me to reflect on what is my self-worth? What makes me worthy? Do I believe I'm worthy only if I can do these things or achieve these things, or only if I get external validation? And I had to make a decision. I got to make a decision where I realized I'm worthy even if I'm just laying here like a potato in my bed. I'm still worthy. I'm still worthy of healing, and I'm still worthy of life. And I had to really decide that for myself. And I also looked at, who am I really living for? And I realized that almost every choice I made and every thought in my head was about, will other people like this? Will other people validate me for this? In terms of what career I thought I was going to go into, I was thinking from the lens of, what are my parents going to approve of? What are people around me going to think is prestigious? In terms of internships I was getting, in terms of hobbies I had, in terms of what I posted on social media, in terms of what I wore, I was always thinking from the lens of, what are people going to think about this? Will this allow me to get the validation and love that I want? Not realizing that that wasn't real love at all, because it was all those same people that when I stopped doing all those things didn't want to be in my life anymore because they didn't really love me. It was conditional. And it was actually when I stopped trying and I didn't care what anybody else thought anymore that I finally could attract in and see people who loved me just for me. And it wasn't conditional love. It was just, I love you. And you don't have to show up. You can wear whatever you want. You can have whatever career you want. You can have whatever friends you want. Like, I just love you for being you. And there was so much liberation in that. And I had gotten to a place where I was so physically fatigued and emotionally fatigued and so depressed. My only choice was, I just can't care what anybody else thinks. And when you're 19 and you are worried every day that like it's going to be your last day, it puts things in perspective, where I really thought, okay, if I only have a couple of months left, how do I want to spend my days? This is how I thought. And I just started spending my days that way. And I realized that the way I wanted to spend my days was very different than how I was spending my days before. And that was one of the most powerful experiences in my life and totally changed the way I thought. And that just continued for the rest of my life. I changed the way that I thought, and I was really focused on, I'd never know when it's going to be my last day. So I am going to eat my dessert first if I want. Like, I'm going to, if I really, really feel called to, I want to go to the beach and I want to ditch my responsibilities, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. If I know that I want to write a book in my life, I'm going to write that book right now. I'm not going to wait. So it really changed how I thought, and it changed my priorities. And I was prioritizing my joy, my excitement, what I wanted to do, not everybody else. And I also started to make decisions about, okay, well, I've got to create my life here. So who do I want to spend my time with? And I realized I would rather be alone than be around people who were negative, were victim mindset-y, were tearing me down, were jealous. I had a lot of people around me that were constantly jealous of me and then trying to tear me down. And then I was trying to like prove to them that they didn't need to be jealous of me, that I was nice and we could be friends. And it was just super toxic thing, right? I mean, you're, 18, 19, like that's just how it goes. So, but a lot of people carry that until adulthood. I see all kinds of people all the time. They're 50 years old and they're still worried about this kind of stuff. And oh, my heart just like goes out to anyone in that position. I remember how that felt. I felt like I was trapped in my mind. I felt like I was trapped in my life. I felt so trapped. And Enneagram 8, absolutely cannot feel that way ever. It's my deepest fear. So I changed a lot. And I think where the theme started to shift was through my 20s. It was this exploration about my spirituality and who I am in the world and how things really work for me. And I think the big theme for me has been trusting my intuition. It's been this constant battle between what I know logically, what I know around me, because I'm someone that loves to learn. I'm someone that loves to experiment. I'm someone that, I don't know. I like to learn, I like to read, I like to study. There's all kinds of random shit I know a lot about because I just like to learn about it. And so I have so much in my brain that it's a battle between that and my intuition. My intuition is really, really strong. For other people, it's so easy for me of like, okay, well, this is how it is intuitively, there you go. That's the answer. And then for me, I will get things obviously strongly intuitively, but my mind is so strong. I'm like, well, what about this? What about that? What about that? So a lot of my 20s was that battle where I kept giving my power away to other people. I kept letting other people tell me what to do when it came to my health or when it came to my career. I think at first I was really just, I was young and I didn't give a shit about anything. So I was just doing what I wanted, and it made me so magnetic and it allowed me to grow really fast. And then I thought, oh my God, this is a real thing. With my career, I better like learn some real strategies. And so I started to learn a lot more about business, for example. And I started to learn a lot more from other entrepreneurs, and it's all helpful. But I actually think a lot of that is what caused a lot of problems for me throughout the last 10 years. It was everything I learned. And it was the same thing with my health. My health had gotten better and then got worse again. And when I had Lyme and mold, I faced this choice where I was like, here I am, once again, strict diet, a ton of supplements. I've been on this train for so long, I'm exhausted. And all of the experts are telling me to do this, but in my body, like I don't want to do this. And in my body, I have this secret tool with intuition and energy that I see work for everybody else. Like, I want to just do it this way. And I, for a while, kind of straddled where I would do half of it my way and half of it the way the doctor wanted me to do it, or my practitioner. And I still was struggling. And it was when I finally said, fuck this, I'm just going to do it my way. I'm just going to trust my intuition. I finally started seeing results. And I think I would have saved myself so much time. Like, I feel like when I look back at my 20s, because that's really what I'm thinking about in this moment. When I think about turning 30s, I'm thinking about my 20s. And I spent so much time kind of like going back and forth with what other people were telling me, what my logical brain was telling me versus my intuition. And if I had just full send intuition, what you're excited about, what you know, I feel like I would have been like 10 years ahead of where I'm at right now. And if I could give myself any piece of advice, what I would say to my younger self is your sensitivity is your superpower. I would say to my younger self, like my young self, my elementary self, my teenage self, everything that you're feeling and everything you know is correct. And I would tell that version of myself, you're psychic, figure it out. I say, trust the spirits you're talking to. I would say your read on people is accurate. Trust it. Trust it. I would tell that version of myself to stop living on energy drinks and Advil because it's going to ruin your liver, and stop being on antibiotics 24/7 because it's going to destroy your gut. I would tell her that. I would also tell her that things are going to get so much better. Like, it's only going to get better and better and better as you get older. You're not peaking right now, I promise. I would tell myself early on in my health journey that, I'm proud of her. And I would tell her, trust your intuition. I know that you feel ridiculous because you're 20 or 21 or 22. And honestly, you feel like you know more than the older people in front of you, but like you do. So just trust it. Because I would feel that way and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so full of myself. Just listen to what they say. They're older and wiser. And there are people that are older and wiser than me, lots of them. But like in those scenarios, I should have trusted myself because I ended up being right. And it took me, 5 years to get there. And so I would say when you have that intuitive knowing and when things are not working for your body, you need to trust it. I would tell earlier me with my business, get guidance, get support, find people that are going to support you in finding your own truth, and find people who really understand the importance of authenticity and magnetism in business, not all of this like bro marketing, blah, blah, blah. Listen to your body in all parts of your life, in your relationships, in your business, with the foods you're eating and health practices, obviously, but your body is going to respond very intensely to things that are for you and things that are not. And you have to trust what's working. If it feels like you're putting energy in a certain direction and you're not getting results relatively quickly, it's the wrong direction. Stop trying to make something work that isn't working. Like, move, shift, change direction. The other thing I would say is uphold boundaries with people that you love, and that sometimes you can love people, but they're not treating you the way they should. And you need to be strong enough and love yourself enough, really, to release people that are trying to take advantage of you. I would say that 100%. I would say trust how people are actually showing up, not just what you see in their soul and their potential. Because sometimes those are two different things. I would say, I promise you, if it's not working, it's for a reason. I promise you, if it's not working, something better is coming along. Like, I promise. If it's feeling hard and heavy, not in a, this is a challenge, but I'm growing and I feel this kind of yummy excitement because I'm like getting better, or I just expanded. Not that. But if it's just feeling hard, depressing, heavy, tiring, like day after day, literally stop. Just literally stop. Sometimes, no, always doing nothing is better than doing something that's wrong for you. Always. So just do less. I would try and tell my younger self to do less in general, but she wouldn't listen. So I'm gonna leave that one out. She can still just keep doing more because she'll figure it out. My cat just meowed outside. Do less. And I think like trusting the journey, like I would tell myself not to judge myself for the different turns I needed to take, the times where I needed to pull back and pause, the times when I changed my niche and changed my focus, because I look at it now and, at the time I had a lot of people in my ear telling me I was an idiot for like leaving wellness and then going to business. And then again, when I was leaving business, going to spirituality and like all these different turns I've taken. But I look at myself now and every phase I've gone through up until this point has been so important for the work I do with people now. If I didn't have those years of expertise working as a nutritionist, working with people with chronic illness, with mystery illness, I would not be the channel I am today. If I didn't have those periods of working with people with their actual businesses, I would not be the person I am today. I would not be able to be working with all of the entrepreneurs and executives I do today. Like that was so important to learn all of that. Sometimes you need to go into the conditioning, you need to go into the matrix stuff to really be able to understand how to help break people out of it, and just the depth of experience. Like I've worked with so many clients. I was a crazy person. I used to have at one time, I would have hundreds of people on retainer at the same time. Like I was every day, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. seeing clients back to back to back, groups, single, and that experience was invaluable. And I knew that. And I'm so glad I did that. And with that, I think just the insights of people's relationships and everything that I've learned about conscious relationships and things I've learned, I learn the most from my clients because I'm supporting people, but I'm also learning so much from them about things that I know not of, whether it's something with business or being a parent or relationships. In these conversations, I'm learning so much. And then from everything I'm channeling and seeing in their energy body and messages I'm getting, I'm learning so much. And there's just nothing that can replace that in-person experience. And I'm so glad I did that. Like, doesn't matter how many books you read, it's not enough. You've got to get out there and do the damn thing, right? When we know this, right? College doesn't prepare you very much for your real life job ever. So I would tell myself to keep doing that and to just trust the journey and the twists and turns. And I would tell myself to stop worrying about what's coming next or where it's headed. Like just be in the present moment and trust that when you're supposed to move, you're going to know. So just let yourself be in the now and enjoy the now. And it's all going to come together perfectly, better than you could have imagined. But I would say when you're getting visions about what's going to happen in the future, take action on it now. I think that so often we can say this is going to happen later, it's going to happen later. And sometimes we make a move toward it happening now and it's a clear no, not right now. So honor that. But there's a lot of times when we could just say, I'll do it now. And I'm pretty good at that. I think that's one of the reasons why I move really quickly with things and have lived a lot of lives. But there are still times I'm like, I could have moved faster. And there's nothing wrong with moving slower. There's something wrong with that. But I like speed and I like a lot of experience. And like, I just want to help as many people as I can and get the most I can out of this incarnation. And I think there were a lot of times when I felt a frustration within me because I was waiting for something outside of me to happen. And I didn't realize that I needed to just say yes, claim it, and like make it happen, right? Take an action saying, all right, universe, we're going now. And the universe would have jumped right in, right? And taken me there. But I was just waiting in frustration. And I think what I would tell myself is anytime that you are feeling frustrated, you need to go have fun. You need to go on a trip. You need to get out of your space. You need to learn something new. You need a new experience. And that will help you a lot. And I think I did that a good amount, but sometimes I would get stuck in these ruts. And the energy was just looking to move. But I think the main theme for me when I look at my 20s is really just a lesson in learning to really listen to myself. And I feel like a lot of people say that when they turn 30, they're like, I just don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. For me, it's not really ever been, it's not like I'm caring what other people think. It's been more of, I was outsourcing my power, where I was thinking, oh, this person knows more than me because they've been doing it longer than me. And that can be true. That can certainly be true in many contexts. But there are certain contexts when my intuition was saying really strongly, that's not the right move for you. This is. And I needed to listen to that because I'm the one that knows the key code for my own life. And I think that's really the main thing that I would tell myself. So it's been a wild 30 years. I don't think I've processed it. I think that I wish I gave myself more time to process. I wish I gave myself more time to really like journal and document. I have so many photos, but it's all disorganized. I've lost half of them. What am I going to do with them? I think taking more time to turning things into vlogs. I'm so happy we're doing that now. But like making, a yearly reel for yourself, making photo albums for yourself, put some creativity and artistry into it. Taking more time to just reflect and kind of sit with what's been going on, I think is so beautiful and powerful, just to appreciate ourselves. There's lots of things I've saved from the last 10 years, like milestones, moments, photos, magazines I've been in. And it's fun to look back on that and just appreciate how much I've changed. And I think taking time to really reflect on what are these very real lessons that I've learned. I think I do wish I did more of that. I'm doing a lot more of it now, I think in the last couple of years, because I realized that, but that would have been fun to have early on. But I think really realizing, and I know I'll continue to, that every part of my life has felt so crazy. It has felt so crazy. And every part of my life is literally just stuff I have to live that's so weird and extreme and whatever, because I'm here to share it and teach it. And I think when I started realizing that my life is A, just mirroring the collective, or B, just experience for me to learn, because then I have to share that message with somebody else later, I started to judge myself a lot less and be at peace with where spirit wants to take me. And so I think it's a lot about trust, self-trust, trusting the universe. One of the things that I have learned viscerally, and I know to be true, is that at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is my relationship with the universe, is my relationship with source, is my relationship with the divine, is my relationship with my soul. Those are all the same things. And when I am very clear and zeroed in on that relationship and how my soul wants to move and express, what source wants to share through me, how source wants to move through me, and that's all I focus on, everything else works out perfectly. And it's that divine trust that makes a really beautiful life. So those are some of my main reflections. Turning 30, I wrote a lot of books. I published 5 books. I've been doing this podcast for 10 years. I started on the internet as a food blogger and recipe developer, had a wellness podcast, did business coaching for a long time, traveled all over the world. Now I've seen all kinds of clients for psychic readings, energy work. I downloaded my own, no, not even mine, but I downloaded an energy healing modality that I need to share with the world, that I have, and I've trained hundreds of people in it. That's pretty cool. What else has happened? So much has happened. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. I've been in all kinds of magazines. I've gotten press. I've had the most incredible experiences I'm so grateful for. I've done a lot of stuff. I'm really grateful for that. And, my intention moving forward, I think in this next year, next decade, is having a bit more of a homey energy and a grounded energy, and allowing things to build and expand from that. I'm excited to start my own family, move into that phase, and no longer wobble between self-trust and trusting someone else I think might know more than me, but really just fully for a whole decade come from that grounded space of, I know my heart, I know my intuition, and the divine's always guiding me in the right direction. So it's going to be a good decade. And those are my reflections. So let me know if any of those landed for you. What are some of yours? I know a lot of you are much older than me, so that's fun. Let me know. I'm sure the longer I think about this, the more it's going to come up, but that's how I'm feeling in this moment. So leave a comment. Let me know what here landed for you. What can you resonate with? What are the themes of your 20s? I'm curious. We all have such different life paths. That's why I love seeing clients, because everyone's in their own movie. It's so cool. But I would love to hear. So leave a comment. Leave a comment on YouTube if you're watching here, or on my latest Instagram post if you are on the gram. And I can't wait to hear back from you. So celebrating my birthday. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you next time.